Okay, good morning. Stocks go up, stocks go down. Election day. Good morning, Nadine.
Good
Hold on
morning.
here. We make panelists, make sure we got this. Okay. So very interesting day lining up. We'll give everybody a few minutes here, but some quick things. Carvana is flying. It can go. It was 258 and dropped 30 on this. Everybody said Hindenburg's going to do a report. They did it. It's flying. So in theory, if you get a rate cut, probably flies back up. China stock, Baba and Baidu is up, but First Solar is down. So if you say Harris is going to win, Baba and Baidu go way up, PDD goes way up, First Solar goes up, but First Solar is down. So one is positive, one's negative. Doesn't make any sense. If Trump's going to win, Bitcoin goes up. That means MicroStrategy is up. It's way up, but coin is down. So that doesn't make sense. One positive, one negative. Tesla way up. The thing I don't think people have realized is if Trump wins, Elon's going to go in there and cut 2,000 government agencies. I mean, in an instant. People are going to freak. I'm telling you, that's what Elon does. Elon just cuts agencies. He's good at that. He just goes into San Francisco and says, half you guys at Twitter, we don't need you. That's what he's going to do. Now, I don't think that that's factored in. Okay? So a lot of craziness. No idea what's going to happen. We're going to do a Spaces tonight while this is happening, and we can discuss. And everybody can ask questions, and we can discuss, and it'll be a good old time, and see if we can find something that's going to go crazy. A-Lab is flying. It's up 17, and Palantir's flying. So those are two things that are happening. Very interesting. Taiwan Semi's up a couple. And then SMCI, interesting. Let's talk about SMCI first, and we'll get back to it. So SMCI has earnings. Now, we have no idea if it's real earnings or fake earnings, or it's fraud or what the hell they're doing. No idea. But let's do it by the numbers. SMCI is supposed to make 75 cents. If they make 75 cents or more, you times it by 4. That gives you $3. You times it by 20 PE, that gives you a $60 stock. It was trading at 30 and 40 times PE before all their issues. So if you times it by 30, it gives you a $90 stock. Okay? If they miss, they make 50 cents. You times it by 20 PE, it's still 40. If you times it by a 10 PE, it's still 20. Interesting, right? So what's the downside? Well, if there's no revenue and it's all fake and it's all fraud, then you take it to a 5 PE, and it doesn't matter what they make, and probably goes to $10. And rumor yesterday that NVIDIA is cutting them off. No idea if that's real. Okay? So is that not crazy? No idea what else happens with SMCI. But the CEO, let me tell you, so a quick story here. Shop was at 1,800, and the CEO let it go to 1,500, and then 1,400, and I came on here in the morning. I said, this CEO is a piece of shit, and it's going to go to $50. And it went to $30. When a CEO lets his stock drop 300 or 400 points without making a statement, every big fund gets out. And that's what SMCI did. He let it drop, and he let it drop, and he let it drop without making a statement. Now, I understand he didn't have something to say, but why doesn't he just come out and say something and say, we're working on this, we're going to do this? He doesn't say anything. So every big fund sells it. That's what happened to SMCI. Now, does it pop the 40 or 50 tonight and then drop right back to negative tomorrow? Maybe. But interesting, so just know that. Okay, so hope everybody is here. We got Nadine on here. Once again, we're doing this deal with these guys, cross longbow, and then they have this system coded by some scientists and PhDs over at Stanford that comes up with buy and sell signals based on proprietary algorithms, different than Sam's. But when Sam gives you some numbers, you can check it out. You can put it in here, look at it, look both ways. That gives you percentages of things that can go up and things that can go down. different set of stocks. It does a bunch of stocks, but based on if there are buys on it or sells, you get additional information. Okay? So Nadine's here. She's going to spend about 5 minutes with you again today, and Ben, and they're going to talk a little bit about this. So go ahead, Nadine.
Sure. And sorry, everybody, about yesterday. Our tech guys had that code, but I think that a little growing pains here at the start, but hopefully everybody is settled. If you want a free subscription for a month, I know Sam's going to put a link. You get a free month and then 50% discount till the end of the year if you want to sign up for annual subscription, and then less than that if you want a monthly. But let's take a look a little bit at the site, and we're going to be adding some from a former version into this version, which should be done by the end of this week. But I think you can see here, I've just got some morning names on here, some names that you had mentioned yesterday, but you're looking at a Goldman buy. So we can delve into what do you do with something like that. Well, one of the things I like, is that you would be buying below 513 and selling above 530. And I like the fact that there's short-term momentum, which is bullish, medium-term momentum is bullish. People are fearful of the name, so implied volatility premium. And then it's got a low short interest signal, though, so it just means that a lot of people are shorted. I know that one of my good friends, Charlie Peabody, is thinking that we should be shorting Goldman at some point. It hasn't been the time to pull the trigger yet. But what's going on here? But you can see here, if you click into a ticker, let's say you're interested in a ticker, what's been going on? You're bullish, but we've got some news that people are a little bit less happy with. But you can take a look at the back testing stats to say, okay, one day out, what is your percent chance of making money if this is just short-term trading, right? So Sam might be hours or a day. This is 5 trading days out, but you have a pretty solid chance, 2% rough gain each day. A much smaller chance percent losing, average loss small. Go ahead.
Let me interrupt you here. So if you go back, it said buy below 613, I believe it said, right?
513.42. Yeah.
513. So you're assuming this 90% chance to make money or 80% is if you buy it below that, or if you buy it at where it is at the moment that you're looking at this?
Sure. It is when you have a buy signal. Yep. When you get a buy signal, so it is at the 513 spot 42. So okay. Arguably, if the stock price is below that even further, the upside would be greater.
Okay, so if the stock, let's say 10 minutes into the trading day, it's at 515, I would assume
it's not going to be buy anymore. It's going to show a neutral. It's going to say don't do anything.
Got it. Okay, keep going.
So these things are flipping every 30 minutes in terms of the stock prices as we refresh. So it's getting priced out all the time. And check the signal strength as well. So here you're getting over 70% signal strength, which I like, right? Because once I'm over 70, it means I have a pretty good chance of success and 3.5 to 1 odds of making money. And this is really just like a reverse trade here, because when people throw things out, you were just mentioning it, it's a little different with super micro because you're pulling your you got I leaving and you're pulling your financials. But here, what you have is when people are throwing things out, typically you get a little bit of bounce back. And what we like to do is we do like to look at those back testing stats. So like, do I have to be holding this for 5 days? Can I what can I look at each single day? So certainly your chance of profit goes down the longer you're trying to hold this thing. And today's an election day. So in some ways, this doesn't include only election days. So take that for what it is. But you're basically looking at people through some stuff out here. But one of the things I also wanted to show, which is I find the most interesting, is you can scroll over. I mean, you can create as many tabs as you want, but top buys and top sells. So we kind of do the work for you in case you're not sure what tickers you do want to look at. So you can take a look at and scroll down of who's got a buy signal right now that meets some of our criteria. What are the criteria? It's got to be of a sufficient size, a certain amount of trading volume. I want to be seeing certain type of odds in this. And so one of the things I do like to do here is take a look at the like who's on it, and you can kind of see, you can get patterns if you know your tickers. But let's say I want to see, okay, who may have a signal strength that's super high, and you can tell it by how many bars are filled. So we try to do it pretty visually in the green. So this one's pretty good, right? So I might say, okay, It's a mining company. You know, it's got pretty high signal strength. I'd be checking to see what news came out of here, right? So there might be an investigation. So then you want to be taking a look at that. So you don't want to look at these signals and not look at the fundamentals. But if you want something that's doing the work for you to be able to say, okay, where are some asymmetric bets going on? Here you might have a lower signal strength, right? Because you've got a neutral short-term momentum, but it is bullish. Medium term, everybody probably knows CME, the trading group. But you basically saw, gosh, what a run up, but you're getting that bullish turning into neutral. But you are getting a buy signal. You're going to call it, you know, a little bit better than 2.5-1 odds to trade that on the ups. And you can take a look at the back testing stats, what's been going on. So pretty solid back testing stats on that. So what I would like to do is, you know, like Sam, when you're talking, we just add tickers, right? So one of the things that I think people could do to complement what you're doing is if you're mentioning names, they can create a tab, Sam's tab. You know, you can go in here and say, all right, I want a new tab. I want the Sam's tab. And then I can be populating the tickers, right? So you talked about like, you know, Taiwan Semi today. And so I can have this on my day while, whether it's I'm looking at your Twitter or, you know, checking your chat to say, okay, am I getting any signals on Sam's names that would align your calls with our stats to say, okay, I think that the momentum's going my way. I think that people oversold or overbought it. Are there any fundamental things going on? You can click into that. And what are my odds? What are the stats? And then make, I'd say, a more informed decision based on your investment strategy on what to do, right? And so as you click into these things, I said you can look at the trading lanes. You can also look at the momentum. You can go back here. But yeah, you're right here. You're almost at that short-term momentum line, but it hasn't fallen through it. So that's the kind of thing. If you get a buy signal, right, you're going to say, okay, if it's not falling through, I might want to be looking at this because it could be a high conviction bet. So those are the types of things that I would do. So we do some work for you. Obviously, we have other things too, like commodities, fixed. We have things per asset class and per developed markets versus emerging markets. We got currency. And so, you know, one of the things we're going to be rolling out by the end of the week relates to something we had on our former version 2, which you'll be able to click into, is also implied volatility premium discount. So you can look at realized volatility, so what's been going on there, what's the beta of the stock, and then is implied volatility versus realized volatility at a premium or discount. And so, you know, are people paying up for protection? Are they not paying up for protection? And then we give you a little like handy dandy signal so you don't have to look at the numbers if you don't want to look at the numbers. So a lot of ways I'd say to use this, and we can kind of go through this through the week, and we'll be putting out a video to a little bit of webinar how to use it. But again, probably a good complement if you want to be watching the stock, Sam, that you're talking about intraday to see if the signals are aligning.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Ben, we had Ben on here too. Ben, you have anything you'd like to add here? Ben's going to be with us tonight also talking a little bit about the election. He's more technical from their side and very good trader also. Ben?
Ben, you got to unmute. So I don't know if you're there unmuting or not, but Ben, you want to talk a little about what you're seeing overnight?
You hear me now?
Yes.
All right, sorry. Yeah, hi guys. My name is Ben from Bry. I'm partners with Nadine. Yeah, I think that the thing you have with the longbow stuff is it's just another thing for you to, you know, you'll have biases in how you trade. You listen to Sam, you have your own views, and it's just another thing to kind of generate ideas and see, hey, is this lining up with what I'm thinking? And I think that one of the things that people historically like to say is when your fundamentals or your view, whatever it is, lines up with the charts, and then, you know, it's more than just looking at the chart and saying, oh, that's interesting pattern in my brain with some tacit knowledge. It's like, here's the data that can back this up. And, you know, it takes a little while, you get used to using it, but like after a while, I think it's a very nice additional tool for people who are in the trading game, you know, whether it's a day or it's a couple days, or it's 10 days.
And Ben, I think you make a really good point. And so just so people know, how does this fit into, for example, my investment strategy? We have a macro framework to figure out, call it where the puck is going. Are we in Goldilocks, reflation, inflation, deflation all around the world? So it kind of sets the stage and maybe big picture where we might want to be placing bets. And then we also do fundamental. So if you're in, you know, looking at semiconductors, which semiconductor company, for example, but then we try to match these technicals to the end result of that. Because one of the things I've learned over 30 years is that you can really get run over if you don't know how something's trading. And Sam, I think that's what you do brilliantly, is that you're letting people know the technicals of it, which is very, very important, because maybe somebody else is trading a stock or trading a security for a reason that is not aligned with why you're looking at it, right? And so you want to be trading it when all of those factors, the macro, the fundamental, and the technical, are aligning with you. That's very, very important. So Ben, I didn't want to interrupt you there, but I know you're thinking about, obviously, Trump. We're up pretty early. I'm on the West Coast. Ben's in the Midwest. Anything that you're seeing here you want to talk about?
Well, it just also then you know if you're going to use this, use it for a month. One of the things you want to do is you go to the top buys and top sells. You can sort, Nadine, if you want to click, like you can sort by signal strength. You can sort by any of the rows. And what you'll see is, like, let's just use Monday as an example. After the Amazon Talon agreement for their nuclear plant was, well, you saw all the names that were related to AI power, the power names, whether it was the electrical equipment guys like Vertiv or it was Constellation Energy. You'll see some trends across industries show up, like maybe one day banks are all showing up, and it gives you like a little feel for what the markets doesn't like that day, or what it really likes, and you'll be able to like kind of cluster them, and it gives you like a little more color on the market. And so you're seeing it just from an individual stock signal strength and or signal trading signals, but what it's catching is like, what does the market really want liquidity in? And if you think about it as traders, you're either gonna hit the ask and hope it keeps going, so buy high, sell higher, or you make money in mean reversion. And a lot of what this is based on for the short term is mean reversion signals. And so it's like, okay, look at United Health right there is down 2%. You know, that's basically saying, hey, the market is for sale, and it doesn't mean forget about this individual stock per se, but it's just like, from a fundamental standpoint, what are you getting paid for? You're getting paid for giving the market liquidity on these mean reversion trades, and then, you know, it kind of normalizes, and then you take your scalp and you move on. And this gives you a little more color to those kind of trades, which can just be complementary to, you know, your core process and pick up a couple 100 basis points as you go along.
And you can take a look at a security to see how well did it do, right? Like here you hit the top end of the range, it would have given you a sell, and maybe you could have scalped this a little bit of extra, but then you had a big dip. So it basically incorporates sentiment, technicals, other things to kind of, you know, keep you honest here on the math side.
Okay, thanks guys, appreciate it. They'll be here again tomorrow to give us some more, if you have some more questions on this, so you guys can play with it. The link's in our Twitter if you guys want to sign up. So very interesting. Okay, so today SPX is up. Obviously election, anything's possible. No idea if we go up, if we go down, what happens. Something just came out here, guys. Keep an eye on Netflix here. The Netflix offices in Amsterdam just got raided for tax fraud. So keep an eye on that. Don't know how that affects Netflix or anything. It's still up. It's not down. I don't know. The news is proliferated everywhere. It could be just a thing in Paris and Amsterdam and not Netflix US. Who knows? I don't really know how they do all that. But just something, once again, it's news, and we'll look at it. SPX was up 14 earlier. Now it's up 7-ish. You're at 57.19. 5,700 tested yesterday, did not break. 57.52, big number. 5,800. You have the Fed on Thursday, so keep an eye on that. You have the election tonight, may or may not get results. 100-point day expected tomorrow and Thursday. By me, a minimum up or down one way or the other. Then we see 58.52. That's way up. It's 150 points up to get to high of year. And if we completely crater, back to 5,400 maybe. Okay, so just keep an eye on that. 5,700 today is a big number. Avago, chips not doing a ton here. 177, 181, 187 is a beast number. If it breaks 187, it will go to 200. 161 underneath. NVIDIA, 141, 146. SMCI has earnings. Depending on what they say, it may move NVIDIA later tonight, so keep an eye on that. There's a company that NVIDIA invests in that is going to be filing an IPO. Microsoft just put in $10 billion into the company. It's called CoreWeave, so keep an eye on that one. That one's interesting for today. It's not public yet, but so remember, this was the one that NVIDIA owns a piece of also. So very, very interesting. Lilly under 179, 177 over. It needs way up there, 4 to 6 week wait on it. 882 to be better. VKTX was all the way up to 88, and it's at 64. And I believe it's at 64 because it's 2 years out. It's a long time, guys. Even though you get great news, if it's 2 years out to make money, people are like, I'll buy it later. CrowdStrike 303, 309, PanW 371, ARM 144 earnings coming. Last time they had earnings, caved pretty good, so just keep an eye on that. 121 would be a really, really big number there. Meta, if the market goes nuts, Meta take off through 590. Very intriguing. Coin not doing that, so keep an eye on that. MicroStrategy, guys, can you, whoever's in the background there, please turn that up. MicroStrategy 131, 138 looks better. A-Lab flying looks like 88.94. ALAB. Carvana. So Carvana, we had bought puts on Friday and we bought calls. We bought both sides because we said if the Hindenburg didn't come out with a research report, because Hindenburg came out and basically, see, this is the problem with these short sale companies. They're all bullshit stuff. Okay. He comes out and said no company can make more than $2,000 or $3,000 a car. But that's not true, because Carvana came out and said, we make $3,000 for every loan we sell. So they finance a car, they sell the loan, they make $3,000. That doesn't include the $2,000 that they make on the car. So how come they didn't put out a report? Because they're just bullshit. So just keep an eye on that. That being said, if Carvana trades at 238 today, it can go all the way to 258. It will explode up if it can get to 238. It's not there yet, but just keep an eye on it. Okay, SMCI, we talked about that. News is coming tonight. This thing, PE-wise, very cheap. Is the revenue real? It's all fake? Who knows? I have no idea. I actually think all the revenue is real, and they're selling to China, which is a no-no. So who knows? Don't know about that. TSM can't seem to get through 200, but if it trades at 206, it'll trade at higher view. 206. It got to 205 a week ago Friday when I was at that wedding, remember? Remember, when you're memorizing stuff, memorize it to events. That helps you memorize it. So very, very interesting. TSM, they appear to be sold out. They just took delivery of a new ASML machine. That means they can up guidance next quarter, so keep an eye on that. Microsoft, no man's land. Tesla, very strong. This was at almost 250 earlier this morning. Through 252, this was 272 last Monday, 273, and then dropped 33 points. If it gets going and Trump wins, this one can run. We'll see. Keep an eye on that. NOW strong yesterday. That's what we know. That's what we know. That's what we know. Okay, everybody have a great trading day. See you in chat. We will be doing the spaces. Everybody can chime in. It will be fun. We'll have a blast. Thanks, Nadine. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you very much.